Hello and welcome. My name is Céline and today I'm so happy because it's the 1st of March, which means that spring is finally approaching. Honestly, winter is so hard and I'm sure that most, if not everyone, can relate to this. Personally, I don't even realize how hard winter is until spring comes along and life just becomes so much easier and better all of a sudden. And so to express my happiness, I wanted to share some spring knitting patterns that I've been eyeing lately. Before I jump in, I'll briefly talk about what I'm wearing. This is my new favorite piece, fresh off the needles. It's the terracotta sweater by Knit. I sort of see this as the non-Christmas sister of the porcelain sweater by the same designer. It is definitely still wintry because it's heavy. Even right now, I'm a little bit too warm. It's got the wool, it's got the mohair, it's definitely winter. The colorwork on this one reminds me of some sort of vintage designer pattern, and then it's alternated with these bands of textured stitch patterns, and it makes it super interesting. I think it's so elegant and unique. I had never seen something like this. I came to a point where I didn't want to knit anything if it weren't this, so I just went to the shop and I grabbed the yarn. So I made this in Sandnes Garn Tin Pure Gint, held with Tin Silk Mohair for the grey white, and then the black I used Sandnes Garn Tin Pure Gint but held it with an Issier silk mohair, the black one. I'm going to go more in depth about it in a future podcast, but one thing that I am going to say off the bat, if you're planning to make this, don't be deceived by the sample photos where the designer is wearing what I think is probably 2 to 3 sizes up what she actually recommends. I knitted the second size, which is my usual size, and I was expecting it to come out very baggy, like in the photos, but obviously it came out a little bit more fitted, which honestly, maybe it's a blessing in disguise for me personally, because I don't have these sort of fits in my handmade knit wardrobes, something that I've never really done before, so I think it's nice for a change. I'm still really happy with it. But yeah, just a heads up. Let's head on to the patterns. I'm so excited. They're so pretty. I love spring patterns. The first one I'm going to share is the springiest of spring patterns. It's so cute. It is the Make Myself Flowers vest by Vexnot Studio. Listen, I've made plenty of solid color garments by now and I love them all so much, but lately I've just been craving a little bit more, and that is colorwork, intarsia, and just more graphic. This vest would just satisfy all of my current knitting wishes, and I'm going to try super hard to squeeze it into my knitting plans for the next couple months because I know for a fact it would make me super happy. And also it's a 15 stitch gauge. It's got no sleeves, so I reckon the turnaround of this would be super fast. We love some instant gratification, especially when it looks this cute. I love the cream and the blue, but this is such a good pattern for stash busting. I totally have the right quantities for this in my stash. I mean, I don't know for a fact, but I assume I do. I guess I'll go around Ravelry and Instagram to see what colors other people picked, but I really hope I will get around to it this year. Last night I was scrolling down my saved posts on Instagram and I found one that I'd saved over a year ago. Also the springiest thing ever. If you want your face to look like a flower, girl, you're gonna have to knit this balaclava. It's the Serpent Balaclava by Milena Paulina, and it's the one you have to knit if you want to look like a flower Sonny Angel. It's so cute, quite simple, with the ruffles. It's great that it's not tight fitting. There's ease in there, which means it's a little bit breezier and it won't get you too warm, you know? But with these things, it's super versatile because when you do not want to wear it, you just pop it off your head, have it lay on your back, and you don't even have to worry about carrying it. How good is that? Even when it's not on your head and lying on your back, it's super cute. So it's great for styling. The colors in the sample photo are exquisite. This bright orangey red with the cornflower blue. It's just chef's kiss. It's so cool, so trendy, works amazing. Very East London. Speaking of cool and trendy and amazing, Lepool is a designer that I've been admiring for so long. I've never gotten around to knitting any of her patterns yet, but one of my next ones on queue is from her. But I just saw her Everest skirt and I was shook by how it just doesn't look handmade, because it's so well made. This is a pretty knee-length pleated skirt that screams spring, and I'm just gonna fight for the spotlight that skirts deserve because they don't get knitted half as much as they should, and I'm not sure why. I've never knitted a skirt, but I do have 2 in mind that I want to work on, and this might be the 3rd. I had never seen a pattern like this. It looks so perfect. I thought it was machine made at first glance. I'm in awe of the construction. I'm just looking at the pleats. I'm thinking, how? It's just too good. And if you look at her left knee where the skirt is slightly more spread out, you can see like a purl column to kind of divide the individual strips. I'm not 100% certain because it's hard to tell from the photo, but to encourage the folds of the pleats, it looks like there is a column either of twisted knits or slip stitches. And you know, this is a sort of thing that I, for example, wouldn't even think of trying, but it's just proof of how well tailored this is. It shows that the designer has studied the anatomy of the garment to just make it look and feel expensive and fabulous. I think a little tweed yarn would look really nice for this, potentially a cream with like rainbow specks. That's very springy, I think. Ever skirt is a sleigh for me. Some time ago, I had saved the Hella set by Hip Knit Shop, and it involves a sweater and a skirt. I'm pretty sure they have both the long skirt and a mini skirt, so it's definitely like a transitional set from spring to summer. It's just this wonderful all over lace sweater. It's got many eyelets, ribbing, scalloped edging, which I love. It's very bohemian, perfect for a nice little spring holiday. I'm not sure what the designer recommends, but this one that I'm seeing in the photo is made out of cotton, which is super nice and breathable. It's dainty and girly, and in spring, I really enjoy to find my girliness that I lost during the winter months, because my priority during winter is just bundle up and not get sick, really. It's really nice to find my femininity again in the spring months, and I feel like this is a piece that I'd love doing it with. The sweater reminds me of the Madeline sweater by Knitting for Olive, which I had recommended in one of my previous videos. I just keep on being attracted to these sorts of patterns. I just love lace. It's super fun to do, to kind of tick off the row on the chart. It's just so satisfying because you can see all the progress that you're making. It would also be a good chance for me to knit with cotton. I never knit in cotton. Perhaps because I haven't found a cotton that I adore. So please let me know in the comments if you have any good fingering or DK cottons that you really enjoy working with. Spring is a time for cardigans, so I found a really cute one on Garn Studio, which is the Drops website. I feel like Garn Studio doesn't get enough hype when it comes to patterns because they're all free and the catalog is like immense. And I know a lot of the patterns that they have maybe aren't the coolest thing in the world, but there are some hidden gems in there and I don't hear people talking about them enough. So I found the No One But Me, they call it a jacket. It's a little round yoke moment, short sleeves. I mean, you can always knit long sleeves if you prefer, knitted with one strand of lace weight. They use silk mohair, but I always remind people that there are alternatives. As long as it's a lace weight, I think the look's gonna be quite similar and you can use that instead. This definitely hits the ballerina aesthetic with the boat neck and the small cap sleeves. It's so dainty. The material itself is very elegant and soft and just flowy. It's very pure and candid, especially in the shade. And they've also paired it with some mother of pearl buttons. So that really sells that fantasy. It's also a really good transitional piece. You could definitely wear this in summer evenings as well, or on cold summer days. You do not need much yarn for this, so potentially a good stash buster. And then yeah, we just love a free pattern, but I guess this is more to say, go look at the Garn Studio catalog because I promise you, you will find something. I also, unrelated to spring, but I found out that they've got such amazing winter sweaters that look like those Olympic skiing jumpers that everyone's knitting. They've got so many vintage patterns with those fits that are super in right now. They look like things you would thrift or things that your parents would pass down on you from the 70s or the 80s or whatever. And yeah, they're great. And I'll definitely be considering some patterns on there for next winter. But anyways, that was a little side note. Another really good transitional piece for spring are tees. And I found the Campanula tee by Cupid Knits. This is a saddle shoulder, mixed rib, high neck, a ruffly t-shirt. I feel like spring is all about the ruffles, but they're just too cute. And who doesn't want to blend in with the flowers in spring? The negative ease on this one is stunning and once again touches upon that femininity that blooms back up again in the spring. This Campanula tee reminds me of my favorite t-shirt that I own that I inherited from my grandmother. She bought it somewhere like 30 to 40 years ago, and I love it so much because the fit is unlike any t-shirt I could ever buy in stores these days. And yeah, the Campanula tee just reminds me of that. Just such a tailored, beautiful construction that you really couldn't find a replica of out there in stores. I also saw that the Campanula Dress exists. I'm not sure if it's out yet. I'm gonna put it on screen. But this one has shorter cap sleeves and then more of a square neck, but it looks so pretty. Oh my goodness. Stunning, stunning, stunning. For sure, this would be very laborious because it's mixed rib, so you're constantly having to switch from knit to purl, which is really annoying. So definitely it would take a while. So if you wanna make it, you better start now. Moving on to a pair of socks. You may know that I'm not a big sock knitter. I have a really bad case of second sock syndrome. I don't really have that with mittens. I'm fine making the second hand. Although I've only ever really made collarwork mittens and I've never made a collarwork sock. So that might change the game for me. I should give it another chance. And you know, Stone Knits is the queen of collarwork socks. She has a collarwork sock for any occasion you could possibly imagine. And today we're looking at the itty bitty berry socks. They are just so adorable. I love strawberries, they're my favorite fruit. It's great that they're itty bitty little ankle socks, means there's less knitting. That's better for my second sock syndrome. I love the cute little picot double folded edge. It's just really cute, you know? Because, you know, I guess with my second sock syndrome, for me, it's not really worth making a sock that's just so simple. It would only be worth it if the sock looks like this and I'd be just showing it off. I'd be sure to wear shorter trousers so that people can just see this and be like, she's got such cute socks. This is only one pattern by Stone Knits that's appropriate for spring. She's got a lavender flower one, a sunflower one, and plenty other more. So definitely check her catalog out because you will not regret it. The socks are amazing. In fact, let's give this one a highlight. Always by Stone Knits is her Stone Roses socks. This is so adorable and just so emblematic of spring. This is, I feel like, the pattern you think of when you think spring. Is just pink roses and the green stems against this candid cream background. I'm noticing I really enjoy when colorwork is placed in bands alternated with just the solid color, just like in this sweater really. I think it's a clever way to really decorate a piece without going too overboard. Next is a pattern I fell in love with when I saw a sample of this knitted up in the beautiful Knitters London yarn shop. If you live in London or if you're visiting, go check the sample out because it's stunning. It's the Nordic Bloom Vest by Caitlin Hunter, which is a pattern in the Line Nordic Knits book. It's a cardigan v-neck vest with gorgeous big graphic colorwork sunflowers, I think they are. And the sample at Beautiful Knitters is made with tweedy yarn, which makes it so, so pretty. There's just something so endearing about this design. The fit has this vintage aura, and then the flowers look like an illustration, which kind of arises a lot of childlike vibes and energy. And I love that sort of juxtaposition. I think it's so adorable. I don't know, I just feel a certain kind of way. It's really cute, and it's that type of thing that I would pass on to my children and grandchildren, you know? I don't know why I feel this way, but yeah, it's so cute. I would potentially consider modifying the button band and going for a double knitted one. I think I would play on color a little bit, so I would go for a creamy background, potentially the Erica Knight Tweed, which is cream and it's got some colorful specks in there. I would use that as the base color. And then for the flowers, I'm thinking I'd pick 3 different shades so that I could knit it in a little bit of a gradient. So I'd start out the top of the flower of one shade, and then a third of the way in, I'd change it. And then when 1/3 is left, I'll just change shade again. I would only have to find colors that really work together so that the gradient would make sense, you know? But I'm thinking maybe sunsetty colors, some pinks and oranges, maybe a little bit of yellow. And I could even consider using my new buttons that I got from Lilliput White at Unravel Festival. If the colors work, that'd be really cute. Once winter is over, it's time to finally put away those humongous scarves that eat up your head and take out your mini scarves. So I found the Tulip Scarf by Soup Knits, which literally has chains of tulips throughout it. By the way, a lot of these patterns will be called the Tulip XYZ. It's just what happens when you're gathering loads of spring patterns. This might be the most adorable thing I see today. Also, look how well it ties into a bow. I love a good bow. It comes in 3 sizes, which gives you flexibility, and if you like it so much, you can knit more of it. You create this with a DK weight yarn. 22 stitches is the gauge, so probably turn out pretty fast. And I'm even thinking my mom would love this. It would be such a good gift for her. So, you know, if there are any like birthdays coming along in spring, this would be a really, really good contender because it's not just a simple scarf. It's got this little accent that makes it so special and unique. I wonder if it'd be possible to knit the tulips in a different color if you wanted to. So if you'd make the bud pink and then the stem green. I don't know how the stitch is made, but I would see if it's possible. It's really pretty and romantic and soft, so if that's the vibe that you're aiming for this spring, the tulip scarf is definitely for you. By the way, something that I would love to integrate into my spring knitting is embroidery. Think little floral clusters, maybe on a sleeve or like on the shoulder, or a little butterfly or something like that. I think that's so gorgeous, and every time I see it on Instagram, I just want. I've never done embroidery before. I've only ever done cross stitch. I feel like the spring is also such a good time and excuse to start out a new hobby. I don't know why in the winter I feel like I have to be productive 24/7 and I can never stop and take a break and slow down and enjoy some peace. To address this issue, I've set myself the goal of trying a new hobby every month, and I do it with the boxes from this month's craft, who are kindly sponsoring today's video, and this is the embroidery box. This is how I'm gonna learn how to embroider on my handmade knits. It's been so exciting to receive these boxes. Last month I had the pottery box, so I made a little trinket dish for my knitting notions, and I'm so excited to start this project, which will be an embroidered purse. How cute is that? Let me show you what we have in the box. All the embroidery thread that you need, embroidery hoop, the fabric for the inside of the purse, which I think is pre-cut already. That's good. And then the fabric for the outside with the print on it as a guide. Cotton stabilizer. I have no idea what this is used for, but I will find out. We've got little needles. And finally, the purse frame hardware, which, are you joking? Here's the chain for a little crossbody moment. I'm obsessed. I actually already have the box for next month too, but I'm just so excited. I thought I'd give you a little sneak peek. It's a DIY box this time, and it's for wood carving. So they give you everything here to carve out this little bird. I already thought that once I make him, I'm gonna knit him either a little hat or a little sweater, because that's the most obvious thing to do. If you'd like to try the boxes from this month's craft, you can click the link in my description box or use code Woozy By Céline 20 at checkout, and that will get you 20% off your first box. If you try it, please, can you send me photos of your creations on Instagram, because I would love seeing them so much. Something that's been on my knitting wish list for probably 3 years has been the Knitting for Olive Barbaro blouse. Literally is one of them that when I saw it for the first time, I gasped and my jaw dropped, you know, all of that. And I still feel the same exact way years later, and it's one that I really want to get to. I've heard from people that it is so much work because it's done on fingering weight and it's just overall lace. I think it's knitted bottom up, which is also not my favorite and definitely would be a reason why I'd put it off. But I really want to get to it at some point because it's regal, it's magical, it's so my style. I just need it, you know, like it doesn't make sense for me not to have this. It's just really fascinating how a designer can tailor a garment so perfectly, especially in a lace pattern. This is like the peacock lace pattern. I've tried designing with a stitched pattern and it's so hard. I don't know, it's just very admirable how good this fits and how pretty it is. I love the keyhole at the back. The edging is also gorgeous. I love how the peacock stitch naturally gives the edge of the fabric this scalloped edge. It would also be a really good opportunity for me to use a single strand of the merino by Knitting for Olive. I just wouldn't know what color to go for. I would have to go for a light color just because the stitch pattern is so pretty. I wouldn't want it to get lost. But then again, I've been obsessed with black, and I wonder how this would look. I wonder if the little eyelets in the peacock stitch would show up in the black and still do it justice, you know? Any tips or suggestions are welcome. I've been talking about many girly patterns, but if you're into more of the tomboyish, more quirky style, the stripe overload polo tee is perfect for you, I think. It's by this designer that I'll put on screen because I can't currently remember what the name is. It's the same designer that made the wave sweater. But yeah, it's literally what it says on the tin. Gives me such good Playful vibes. I love the collar. I've been meaning to knit something with a collar for so long. Still haven't gotten around to it. You could have so much fun with picking out the colors of the stripes. I really like in the cream and the red. I love a cream and a blue or a green. I really appreciate how thin the stripes are. They're only 2 rounds deep. Oftentimes, depending on the design of course, but oftentimes I may steer away from a thicker stripe design just because it's a bit too much, I guess. But this one is more digestible, you know, more accessible if you're not necessarily into stripes. It looks like the fit is nice and slouchy. The raglan is quite deep. The arm depth is quite deep, which means it's nice and airy and effortless. I've been seeing loads of people knitting this polo tee on Instagram, and I've always been saving their photo just because it makes me happy. It reminds me of like cartoony, you know, Where's Waldo, Pippi Longstocking sort of thing. Fun and wholesome and just not that serious. When I was browsing through this designer's website, I also found the lace polo, which is still on the quirkier, slightly more tomboyish side because it has a collar, but the little picot edge, that's what makes it cutesy and preppy. You could also make this into a short sleeve if you prefer. I love it in this pink with the white trim. It's very adorable. This collar reminds me of a shirt, which is more of a springy garment, and it's nice because you can just wear this piece without having to put the shirt underneath. I do not like the feeling of a shirt underneath my sweater. I just feel very uncomfortable, just sensory overload. So this is a good compromise. I cannot wait any longer when it comes to knitting a Sari Nordland pattern. I think my time has come because she's about to release the Orchid Bloom Pullover. It's not out yet, but it's coming in time for spring. This is the most gorgeous yoke I've ever seen. Look at how that twisted rib on the neck edge flows into the yoke and integrates within the stitch pattern. Look at those eyelets and the cabling. How does she come up with these masterpieces? I don't get it. And I was so delighted when I saw that she did my favorite thing in the world. She took the stitch pattern from the yoke and put it on the cuffs. Another reason why this is the pattern that I'll go for. So I cannot wait for it to be released. The cream is great, but a soft sage would be good. I've been eyeing the fennel seed shade by Knitting for Olive for a while, so that could be a good contender. Or I'm thinking like a golden desert rose shade. I'll be knitting up that yoke so fast. I can't wait. Something else I've never knitted are some sort of trousers. I was scrolling through the Naked Knit website and I found, I've got mohair all over my face. I found the tulip tights. These are basically really pretty biker shorts, and as I was saying with the skirts earlier, it's the sort of thing that I don't see much of around. It's not something that people tend to go for when they knit. Sweaters and cardigans are obviously more popular, but I think we should get on it because imagine how cozy a soft hand-knitted pair of shorts like these. I would try my best to save up and go bougie with it and make them in cashmere. I don't know if my legs have ever touched cashmere, so I know it would be an amazing experience and it would be the dreamiest loungewear to exist in. I feel like when wearing it, I wouldn't do anything. I would just sit still and appreciate how nice they feel. I really like the big rib. The edge is also super sleek. It's a small stockinette double folded edge, and the fold is encouraged by a row of pearls. I want to get into knitting myself loungewear because I'm a homebody. I work from home a lot, so it would just make so much sense for me. I think I deserve it. I should treat myself. I could even go for some alpaca yarn, which is really soft on my skin personally, and that could be a consideration you can make if you don't want to go for cashmere. I've never thought of hand knit trousers so deeply, and now I can't get it out of my head. I have already shown this next one in one of my most recent videos, but it deserves a little spot in today's list. So I'm looking at the Knits to Wear book by Kutuvakika, and the Sweetheart sweater is just undeniably springy. This is her. It's just an all over lace and cable motif. We've got the cute little eyelets, the twisted rib double folded collar. The pattern on this reminds me of hearts and flowers and petals and leaves, and it's very romantic because of the wider boaty neck. In general, a circular yoke I think is more classic and romantic than say like a raglan or a drop shoulder. In some climates, sweaters can be a little bit too warm for the spring, but for example here in the UK, a sweater with so many eyelets would be just perfect because it is warm, but then way breezier because it's just got all those holes. I think the sleeves are really good width compared to the body with circular yokes. It often happens that the body is way baggier than the sleeves themselves, and the sleeves are super tight fitting. I think the balance here is perfect. It's exactly what I'd be looking for and something I would totally wear. I love how Kika has paired this with some nice white trousers. I love white trousers. I feel like I can never wear them in the winter. They just get so dirty. It's always raining and dirt just splashes all over when I'm walking in the rain, and it's just sad. So spring is a time to take out the white trousers as well. While I'm at it, I'll share another pattern by Kutova Kika. It's her stripe hype dress. This would be such a good stash buster. Also, if you go for crazier color like these, it will just put a smile on everyone's face. As soon as you walk by, you'll be the sun. It's so jolly, and I think perfectly expresses the feelings that we all feel once the days become longer and there's just more color around. She's also knitted the sleeves basically at 3/4 length, which is perfect for the warmer weather. Obviously, you can make this as short or as long as you want, so you've got that flexibility. It's got a nice drop shoulder, so the fit is very effortless. It just looks like you put it on and are good to go and ready to show off all of these beautiful colors. You shall not wear a coat while wearing this dress because that would be super sad. Like, you must show it to everyone. I would consider making this in cotton. Cotton is that one fiber that I've got so much of in my stash. I just used to go crazy in my beginner crocheting days. I would order cotton without knowing what to use it for, and then I just never ended up using it, which was super bad. This would be my guy. This would be perfect for that, for all the cotton, for all the extra cotton that I have. And spring is a time where you do a little spring clean and you get rid of the yarn that has been sitting there for so long. This is perfect. I did say that there was gonna be a lot of tulips in this video. I didn't do it on purpose. I just couldn't avoid including the tulip sweater by Hip Knit Shop. This is a sort of garment that I would totally envision at a shop like Oliver Bonas that plays a lot with fruit and flowers. In fact, this designer does that a lot in general. She also has the fruity slip over. Oh my goodness. This is scrumptious. She has it with the lemon pattern or the strawberry. I'm specifically in love with the lemon one. And these garments would help me achieve my biggest goal with my hand knits, is that when I walk in a room, people are happy because of what I'm wearing. The biggest compliment that someone can give me about my hand knits is, oh my gosh, your sweater makes me happy, or it just puts a smile on my face. I think that's such a lovely effect to have on people with your handmade knits, and these are the perfect contenders to do that with, because who doesn't love a fluffy lemon vest? It's wholesome and joyful and still keeps you looking super cool and trendy. I just got a new pair of Levi's and I'm just envisioning paired with the fruity slip over or the tulip sweater, and that outfit literally would give me everything that makes me feel the best. Cutesy, but also a bit cool. That's what makes me the most confident. I don't really have anything in my wardrobe that looks like this yet, so I feel like it's more of the person that I want to be. I should definitely strive to make these. If you're looking for something a little bit more classic, I found this design that's actually a quite good transitional piece from winter to spring. It is the Pines pullover designed by Deep Winter Knits in collaboration with Originally Lovely. These cables are somewhat floral looking to me. They vary in thickness and they kind of oscillate. That's quite special, and it's not something I've seen very often. It also has a little bit of cabling trailing down the sides of the arms. It's a nice drop shoulder relaxed fit. I'm seeing a lot of twisted rib lately. I think it's super in these days. It's very, very neat and definitely more decorative than just normal 1x1. I would wear this with long, flowy, almost loungewear trousers. But I'm remembering now that denim skirts are a thing. Wouldn't this look so cute in a denim skirt? Maybe a high-waisted one with the sweater tucked inside and decorated with a nice wide buckle belt. another sweater where the sleeve is quite short. And on colder days, you may even like to layer it up with a long sleeve so that that peaks underneath. So you could play on layering and nice colors as well. Going back to Le Pool, I want to show you the Lulu jacket. Le Pool says this draws inspiration from tailored blazers, combining a classic silhouette with an 80s vibe thanks to its shoulder pads. With the huge vintage revival that we're seeing these days, this is the sort of piece that would be criminal to leave behind if you find it while you're thrifting, you know? When I saw it, I was just shook to see those pockets, the shoulder pads. I've been really into garter stitch as well, and this is full on garter stitch. She also has the Lulu skirt that goes with it, so if you like a cord piece set, you have that option. It's very refreshing to see a design like this. It's very original and unlike all the others out there, which is very inspirational for me as a new designer. Looking at it, I just feel more encouraged and keen to be more experimental and try out things that maybe I'm a little bit scared of. Also, putting shoulder pads into your handmade knits is such boss behavior. Since I'm missing t-shirts in my hand knit wardrobe, I wanted to show you the Lyra tee by Irene Lynn. In Italian we say Irene, maybe it's Irene Lynn. It's very cute. It's a simple tee with a twist. So the body is almost entirely stockinette, but then the last portion has twisted rib and some nice cabling, and that's also reprised into the sleeve. The sleeve are all over twisted rib, and then they've got that nice little cable at the end, which I think is super, super elegant. I really enjoy the construction and the fit. I specifically appreciate the ease on the sleeves. They are definitely short sleeves, but on the longer side, like they almost hit the elbow. And once again, I don't know what it is with twisted rib, but I'm seeing it everywhere. You know, now that I'm looking at it, I would even consider making it into a long sleeve, but have it be a bell sleeve. In this cream, kind of gives me bridal vibes as well. This piece also has a double folded stockinette collar, which, as I said, I'm a big fan of. I've also made it a design feature in my soon to be released Suki cardigan. I've done the same. I just love how slick it looks. It's just a nice change from ribbing, and in this case, I think works so well because obviously the whole entire sleeve is in twisted rib, and the cleaner collar really balances that out. We have come to the last pattern on today's list, which is the Mia skirt by Hip Knit Shop. I've been loving them this video, clearly. I saw the Mia skirt and I thought it was such a statement, specifically knitted in a bit of a see-through fabric like in the sample photo. You can obviously substitute yarns and select one that will give you coverage. The silhouette of the skirt is very similar to those white cotton tiered skirts that were super popular last year, and I reckon will keep on being popular. But now let's talk about the see-through aspect of it. I don't think I would ever wear something see-through like this, but then I thought about it and I have seen people in real life wearing it around London or on Instagram, and the way that those people style it is that they'll wear a top that's basically as long as a short dress, and then the skirt is like an extra accessory. So at the end of the day, you still have got your top covering you down to like mid-thigh, and then you just got this skirt underneath, if that makes sense. So that's way less scary than it sounds. If you're able to style it and you've got like a good vision, it can really work and be a super cool item. I don't know if I would ever make it for myself, but I do know that whenever I've seen it in person on someone else, I have always thought, wow, that's really cool. If I was excited about spring at the beginning of this video, I'm even more excited about it now. I just love constantly collecting inspiration. It just makes knitting that much more magical. I hope there were some patterns in there that you guys enjoyed and that would consider making this spring. I would love it if you let me and everyone know in the comments what spring patterns you're looking forward to making, what's been on your list for a long time that you're finally gonna get to in the next couple months. Of course, you must let me know what's currently on your needles because I am the nosiest. I had the best time talking about flowers and soft, cute knits with you today, so I thank you so much for keeping me company and sticking till the end of this video. I will leave my Instagram on screen in case you'd like to follow my creations more in real time. I'll say bye for now, and I hope to see you in the next video.